Oh gosh, what don't we have growing here? We have lots growing. We've got our winter crop at the moment, cabbages, cauliflowers, beetroot, rocket, spinach. We have green mustard. We've got all the herbs that you can think of and lots of lettuces. Yeah, we've got the Vic Market here.
Yeah.
My name is Nina Sedia. I'm the chairperson to the Kensington Stockyard Food Garden. The Kensington Stockyard is known actually officially as the Newmarket sales yards. So back in the late 1800s, 1900s, it was actually a sales yards of cattle primarily and some sheep. At some later point they established the abattoirs closer to the river. In the late 60s they started to move it out. By the 70s they shut it down and it's been sitting idle. But it's great to see it coming to life in another form. Ideally, I would love to see 1 or 2 pens with live animals, a couple of sheep, you know, I don't know, maybe some little miniature pigs or, you know, I think cows, not enough space, they need to roam around. But it'd be lovely to bring it back to life. The City of Melbourne funded the first section of the garden, which is at the back. And since then, the garden has constantly expanded. To date, we have 111 listed registered members. Unfortunately, with the pandemic at the moment, we can't let our members come in. But I'm hoping that by Christmas, they can come back in here and we can have those wonderful working bees that we used to have and the food swaps that we used to have and cooking classes. Can you imagine this? Imagine how much food we could be producing and giving it to the local community, setting up a little market where people can come in and buy organic, buy a donation. I don't like set prices when it's community based. You say, okay, it's a donation, what can you afford? Some can afford a lot, some can't, but it's then made available to everybody. We're currently working with Moving Feast. It's part of a project that they've got going where we provide a certain portion of the food to the community in need. It addresses so many things, gardening, even for someone that doesn't know what to do. Just being in a garden and seeing the energy, it's a really good education because society today, especially in big cities, go to supermarkets or to a market where everything is harvested, bundled, cleaned up. They don't actually see the full life of a plant. They don't see, you pick a broccoli at the supermarket, you don't see the beautiful tree that broccoli has produced. The broccoli is only the flower. The tree itself, the bush itself of a broccoli plant is so nutritional, and yet those leaves in most cases go into compost. So from the moment you grow something, you can start to harvest little leaves on the outer. However, you also need to make sure that you leave enough foliage on each plant to give the plant the sustenance and the boost it needs to constantly produce. And from doing that, you're actually reducing waste. That plant is feeding you for much longer, but also having food fresh. There's nothing nicer than coming here, picking a bok choy or a cabbage and taking it home and cooking it. And the flavour is so different. The flavour is so different because the produce, unfortunately, that we have in the supermarket would be at least a week old. I'd like to see a little bit more sustainability occurring and a little bit more organic approach happening. But I also, having come from a big farm environment, it's hard to produce 100 hectares of carrots in an organic manner. It really is hard. You would have to start to do small plots, which then means we need more farmers. We need more young people taking up the land, more young people interested in growing food. Ideally, I like to see this as an education centre for anyone in the community to come in and learn about gardening and the culture. Australia's got an enormous, extensive cultural background here. There is a group of workers. They were stockmen and auctioneers, and they all get together and they reminisce. They meet every year, but they meet at the school ground. It'd be lovely to see that in here, because some of them are in their 90s now, you know, so, and they bring their families and their families want to continue it. I find that really invigorating. I find it, and thankful, because we have to remember we are where we are today because of yesterday and what others put in yesterday.